Well, hello there. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Trani. Gonna dive into getting started with animation. Yep, there it is. Cool. So, how is everyone doing? I see you in chat. Nicholas, what's up? From Austin. That's cool. I hear a street's closing down there, like some sort of thing. How's traffic been? Because Austin always Austin has bad traffic, so I'm sure you guys are appreciating kind of where things are at these days from a traffic perspective. So anyways, I'm here in Colorado on my 12th cup of coffee. You know how I do it. I'm not used to doing the mornings, so this is what I gotta like double up. Yeah, so I'm a little sleepy, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm really excited about this as well, simplifying animation. So feel free to say hello. I want to wish you a warm welcome. Ashi, I see you there. Hello. Welcome if you're joining me on YouTube or anywhere else. Would love to hear from you. So yeah, just want to make sure everything's working. Everything's good. Cool. I see Annie over there from Poland. Hamza, Arts, Key, Simo. Can I do a tutorial of motion graphics? Oh, imagine that. I actually am right now, so this is good. So I guess we will dive into this, just kind of keeping track of everything and making sure everything's working just fine. I think everything's good. So Trinidad in the house. What Trinidad? There's Trinidad and Tobago, which are two islands off the coast of South America. I could be wrong. Tell me where it is, but there's also Trinidad, Colorado, so which at one time was the sex change capital of the world. Random fact. Too much information. Jeff, how you doing? Hopefully everybody's doing well. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and actually just dive into my screen, if I could. Let's just switch over. Here we are. So we're going to get into, Trinidad and Tobago. Let me know if that's north of South America, like the north coast there, off the coast. I'm totally curious. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to dive into animation because as a designer, so I'm a designer. I'm not necessarily even an animator. I've played one in the past. I cut my teeth on After Effects back when it was called COSA. After Effects, Company of Science and Art, and Adobe bought them from COSA, and it's been After Effects ever since, and has been probably around for a good 25 years, okay? But yeah, so it's come a long ways. It's awesome. So that's your go-to when it comes to animation. And Belgium here learning, awesome. So this really is the industry standard for motion graphics and visual effects. Like, they're not bragging. Companies brag, I get it. But I like to think that that's like not Adobe. We're here to be like, you know, just genuine with you guys. I think it really is definitely the industry standard for motion graphics. Some things we got into yesterday was a little bit of character animating in real time, grabbing from your webcam, and then I also got Animate squared away. So we did not see that yesterday, but we'll open that up, and it's just about demystifying when you're in this video and motion category, like what is all this stuff and what can I use for animation. So that's the goal. North of Venezuela. I knew it. I knew it. Hooray for me, knowing a little bit of geography. So I have been like all around the world, and now I'm stuck at home, and I love it. But some days, just by sheer force of habit, I wake up, I pack my suitcase, and then I try to leave the house. Like, I'm gonna go to the airport, and then I end up in the spare bedroom down here trying to check into my hotel. It's really weird. Just, I don't know, I'm all confused. Okay, so those are the apps we're gonna learn from. By the way, did you notice Photoshop's listed in there as well? So Tim, good to see you here, buddy. Good morning to you, my friend. Always good to have you here. Yeah, so right in here, even Photoshop. And I started this yesterday, by the way, but I can just go to File, New, just grab a new file. No big deal, right? So from here, we can create a frame animation. Usually this is what I would do, is I just create a frame animation, because a lot of time what people do here is you're making your animated GIFs. That's what you do in here. And you can actually now open up animated GIFs. So I did a search for animated GIFs funny, for instance, just kind of going out there. And again, I don't have the rights to use this. I'm actually showing this just as a test. I would never like post somebody else's work. But here's a case where I'd kind of come out here and grab a fun GIF. Let's take a look. Here we go. We'll just go do a save image as desktop. This is just Homer. There it is. File open. And we can locate that GIF, open that up. We actually weren't able to do this. This is actually pretty new. These are those frame animations that I'm talking about right down here. So you can see how crazy it gets. But this is actually what was probably generated from After Effects or another program. Probably like Premiere Pro would have output all this. But there's your animated GIF. You love using After Effects for GIF making. Awesome. Michael McLean, I should know this, but I definitely just want to be honest with you guys. There is not an export for animated GIF out of After Effects or out of Adobe Media Encoder. And it used to be there and it's not anymore, but tell me if that's changed, if you don't mind, Michael. Let's start, William. I agree. Thank you, Sins. You're so kind. So again, here's our animated GIF. So we can come over here and we could do the same thing. We'll do... Wait for it. You got to learn how to type first. Caps lock. Just going to do this really fast, dropping in some text. Command J to jump. Again, I'm in Photoshop. Tuesday. Right on. You know, some days you just got to wake up and you got to... It really is your choice to have a good day, don't you think? What's up, Gregory, right? Thank you, Tim Mobest. It's a third-party plugin that will do that. Thank you for Googling that for me. Tim, you are too much, my friend. Okay, right over here. Let me actually go into panel options, and I'm going to just increase the size of this panel. There we go. Here's our panel, Tuesday. We can do some fun color cycles with this. A couple things we could do here. This will be interesting. This is what I would do. I would actually, let's just, again, just going to get this started really fast. Right, let's just throw on a gradient. Oh yeah. Guess what, everybody? I'm using a gradient. Imagine that, huh? Let's drop on this gradient. Let's go ahead and clip it. Let's actually... Oops. Boom. Let's try another one right here. There we go. We have a couple of fun color transitions, and here's my text. So I can kind of toggle with these. I think this will be fun. We will add a frame. Boom. Again, I did this yesterday, so I don't want to belabor the point. Tuesday. So first one, I'm going to turn it off. Right? Second frame, I'm going to turn this layer on, like so. Okay, so it's going to go bam, bam. In fact, right here, we're going to go to this one, turn this one off here. This second one, we will actually toggle it this way. Third one, and we'll make sure we set this to 0.2. This is our time, 0.2, 0.2, boom. Let's go. Here we go. Let's just have some fun making this now, shall we? We're going to start out with nothing, turning off that, second layer, third layer, there we go. Done. That's our simple animation, right? The easiest way to do animation in Photoshop. Here we have these. This last one I'll pause for 2 seconds and we'll make sure we loop it forever. We'll go ahead and click play. Right? You can see it just does that quick toggle. Tuesday is the best day of the week. It flies under the radar. Like nobody ever talks about Tuesday. It gets no love. But you know what? You can get a lot done on a Tuesday because you know what? It's not Monday, right? Monday was rough for me yesterday. I must admit, my brain wasn't working, but I'm happy for today. And here's a simple GIF animation. From there, we can go ahead and export this out for web. You get the idea. Okay, our quick animation done within 10 minutes. Hello, Faisal. Good to see you there as well. We can change the size. we already have this squared away. We can kind of test this out just to see that it'll actually do the animation. Save that, you get the idea. Let's move on. Cool. A lot of GIFs, actually, what people will try to do is you'll try to go to Giphy. I know you guys. This is what I tried earlier. Giphy. You'll go to Giphy.com and you're like, oh, I want to grab something in here. Let's grab working from home GIFs, right? A lot of these are actually locked down because this is actually like their content from what I understand, or at least there's, when somebody uploaded it, they gave away the rights, their rights for it or whatever. But right in here, we have this fun. This is yesterday, right? Can we all agree? Oh, I love it. Taco Tuesday. We should do an animation on using tacos. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Awesome. McShrine, thank you so much. Adobe Media Encoder, animated GIF. It felt, again, it was an issue that it was not in there. And I honestly think with the resurgence of GIFs, we had to put it back in. That's kind of what it came down to. Your gradients are tucked inside folders, Jan Eric. I do not know fully. So again, I can kind of check that out. We can try to grab some of these files. You can kind of pick this apart, but technically this is a GIF. But these are going to be protected, right? So you'll take this, you'll copy this URL, you'll paste it in a browser window, right? You think it's going to be a GIF, but it's going to be locked down, okay? So when you do a save image as, it's going to save this as this web protected file. So that's kind of what's going on there. You're going to really have to kind of hack at it a little bit more if you cared to have one of these, but it's a reason they're protected. The one I pulled down was just for fun, right? Yeah, buddy. All right, cool. So that's kind of what's going on. Let me go ahead and switch this over to the schedule real fast just so you know what's happening today. You have me for 90 minutes, your crash course in all the animation apps. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've forgotten more, definitely. I feel like I've forgotten more than I've learned. But we have Jesus Ramirez with the Daily Creative Challenge up next at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We got illustration. Anna is using, actually she's using Photoshop as well. Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, obviously in Illustrator. Adobe XD, so an Adobe XD session, challenge, and then some doodle therapy. That's kind of what this all is. This is all therapy for us. All right, and Keita Jones, you are exactly right. We can make GIFs. Boom, boom, here we are. Keita Jones in the house. First off, Jan Eric, I don't know why your gradients don't look like they do here. So know that I actually just made a clipping path out of that gradient fill, okay? So that's what's happening. If I go down here to the twos, right, if I undo that, this is the current gradient, right? I can edit this, I can scale it down, but there's no way to really easily like position this gradient on this twos. I would probably just kind of rasterize this, you know, and then kind of scrunch it down if I wanted to have more of it, right? I'd do something like that, zoop, right, and then clip it. Okay, but let's take a look at my timeline, because when you get into these animations, and I'm glad this happened, when you start creating an animated GIF, whoops, sorry, if you create that animation and then start changing things, you're probably going to end up breaking it, right? Because that's what happens right here. The first two are fine, but when I started to introduce the gradients, well, it's like, geez, Paul, you kind of mess with something. I think it was this one is where I wanted it on. Oh, is that right? This one is where I wanted it on. Hold on one second. Where did it go? Where did it go? What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I moved it the wrong way. That's my fault. But I wanted to show you this. If you make changes, so yay, twos yay, boom, boom, turn that on. We need to make sure we propagate these across all the frames. So right here, this is the situation. Here, for twos, you could see that this is on, right? It's on. I see it here. I'll go to this last frame. Hey, wait. it's on. Why am I not seeing it? Why am I seeing it here but not here? Again, I'm talking about the gradient. It's because I moved it. So again, you want to make sure you have these unify controls right in here. So you want to make sure it propagates across all frames where applicable. But anyways, I'll just move that up. You get the idea. All right, I'm going to move on, okay? Because I want to get into more animation. I want to get into After Effects and other apps as well. So let's close this. Yeah, so, oh, by the way, Marcia, thank you. Marcia, you are too kind. Thank you for sending me that message yesterday. You guys feel free to hit me up even after these streams, just so you know if you have any questions. But what was I going to say? Yeah, oh yeah, the gradients right in here. You have a ton of options with the gradients. I just put them all in one folder. That's the only reason probably mine look different. Also, I've loaded up legacy gradients right there. Okay, so the legacy gradients gives you these ones down here to add even more color and gradients to them. By the way, I can easily take this. I can load this into After Effects if I want. Nick K would love to see After Effects and Animate on the iPad like Photoshop. We've definitely thought about this. I can't give you any news on like where we're at with that stuff or if we're going to do it or not. That's like another question. But you know, I guess my question for you is like, how would you want to use it? How would you want to do animation on the iPad? That's my question. Like, what can a touch device bring to your workflow to make it easier to animate? And also, if you're joining me over on YouTube, hop over to behance.net/live or Adobe Live, and yeah. Animar I am on Instagram at PTRANI. That might be something kind of fun to do as well. So we'd always animate some social media icons, but I already kind of have a plan. Let's go into After Effects. Boom. Here we are in beautiful After Effects, right? We can make a, I already have this project. I can make a new composition. Boom. It's like our new canvas, 1920 by 1080. I just like having a pretty color in there too, usually. Duration's only going to be 5 seconds. Okay, we could always change any of these properties, right? And we'll just call this start. Okay, and here's my start comp right over here. Consider these individual files. Okay, that's all they are. Oh, yes, Steve. I have to admit, I absolutely love After Effects, right? And I used to do television animation and on like motion graphics, and then I got out of that business and then I went to the web. But I miss it, and when I come back I'm like, wow, there is so much you can do. So right in here, what we'll do is do the same thing. Hold down the caps key right there, typing in some text. We see it like so. Boom. Command D to duplicate, dragging this down, double clicking on it, like so. We get all the properties. Oh, it wouldn't be a live stream if my smart speaker didn't chime in every now and then, right? So right over here, I'm just using this font, Din Black. You guys know how to modify all this stuff. But yeah, right down here, I have the different layers. Twos, yay. Let's go ahead and stack them, right? So you can see how this works. I can actually change this color of twos just to tweak it a little bit, by the way, just to show you that this is actually going to be on top of, right, this layer. So the stacking works the same way. All right. Yeah, you'd like to have After Effects on iPad for mobility and import into Adobe Rush. That would be cool. I would love to show you some Adobe Rush. Look at I really like my color scheme of my whole screen. I'm gonna go into preferences, and we can take a look at a couple of things in here. A lot of these things are pretty obvious. I've actually kind of changed some of my label colors just so you can see things a little bit better, right? So for text, I'm using fuchsia, right? Because I like pink, I like teal. I think this is a great color combo. But also I have this color now kind of tied to this layer color down here. And all I did is change this to fuchsia, right? I cranked up the brightness as well. When you import images, you used to have this problem a lot. When you import images, sometimes they'll come in as 1 second, and you want them to be the whole 5 seconds. Just make sure it says length and composition. You could always change that, especially importing lots of images. But nonetheless, we're not really importing things. We got it right here. 2J. We could have some fun with some flipping and some different things. I already did that yesterday. All right, just catching up on this. Cool. All right, here we have it. Let's do this. Some things that I didn't talk about yesterday either. So let's get into just some real fast things. Every single thing you add to After Effects is going to have all these basic transform properties. Let me move my head to the other side. Okay, you're always going to have these transform properties, right? So I kind of want these to slide in. First thing I'm going to do is typically kind of get it into let's just do like that, into its final position. I'll go down here for twos. I'll click this little button right here. This is my stopwatch. This is the time vary stopwatch. So boom, click right there. Now it's going to be right here at this point in time, right? We'll do the same thing right down here. Click right there. We can move those keyframes all we want. Zip, zoop, zoop, zoop. Like that. Hit play like so, right? You get the idea. They stop suddenly. I'll take these 2 keyframes. I'm going to click in and have, if you do a right click on any keyframe, this is how you make things look smooth. Is you come in here and you change the easing, right? Easy ease out is what I can do. I usually always do easy ease because when I animate out of this point, when it moves off the screen, that easing is already there. So I usually do easy ease. I know it sounds like easy E, but when we slide that in, we can see it kind of pops right there. Right? We can go beyond that. I already got it in the graph editor yesterday. One thing we didn't do is if I wanted this to go really fast, okay, let's have this slide in. It comes in pretty quick. And I'm going to actually make this come in even faster, okay? Because a lot of times you'll have things zip in, and what you want to do is right over here, you have a couple additional controls for these animations that are sliding in. This simulation, you want to actually turn on motion blur. So I did not do this yesterday. Again, this is quality for that layer, right? We can actually toggle the quality, right? But we want to just turn on motion blur right here. Boom. See what it did? You could see the difference. Motion blur off, motion blur on. Okay, so now we get that really zippy look. Boom, there it is. Done. It's vibrating a little bit. Ooh, you just made your first animated GIF with Media Encoder. Fantastic. Cool. I'm glad it's back in there. I know it wasn't at one time, and I just haven't checked since. I've been posting most things as videos on Instagram. All right. Cheers, folks. Oh, thank you, Jasmine G. A+ sound effects. I'm working on my sound effect game. Zip, like that. Okay, so let's move on. We have that zip in. A number of other things we can do. We've obviously have just been using text. You know how to animate that. Maybe we'll animate. Did we do? Gosh. We did not animate text per layer. So, or excuse me, we didn't animate text coming in per character. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do next. Again, this is just our quick start. So here's our starter file. I can take that, duplicate it, or again, make sure that's selected. Let's make sure I didn't duplicate anything else. Come over here, select that. Command D, duplicate. So this is going to be per character. animation, which would be really fun because that's what I'm thinking about next, right? Open up this per character, taking these. I can see everything that's animated. Anytime I open up a project, I will just hit U, and that will bring up those current keyframes that are animated, right? Just like that. I can bring up more properties if I hit UU, but that's how you kind of get to them as opposed to kind of toggling down. But in this case, I actually don't want these keyframes. How's everybody doing? Alan, what's up? Unrelated to what I'm doing, unrelated to the, you're asking about what screen recording software I'm using. I'm using Wirecast, just so you know. It's Wirecast, and OBS is the free version. Okay, so here we are. Tuesday, we'll take this. We'll go to animate right here, and we're going to animate like the fill color. Okay, so again, it's static. I'll make this really big, but we'll just animate the hue, right? Like so. Let's make this and both of these larger so you guys can see them a lot better. Oh, hello. Maybe not quite 100%. Let's take this down a little bit. There we go. Boom, boom. Now let's start to play with some of these colors. I think this is going to be really fun. Going into Tuesday, right down here, I can start to cycle through the color. First off, I'm going to change this color to something more bold so we can really see it. Okay, so there it is. That brilliant, there we go. Something kind of like that. Right? Notice how I'm just dragging this to the upper right corner. And right down here, we have this animator. So I went over here, I went to animate the fill color, the hue, right? That's what I want to do. There it is. Here's the color wheel. So it put it on the color wheel in the teal area, right? So if I move it one way, it's going to get into the greens, okay? The other way, it's going to get more into like the yellows. So one way is going to go warm, one way is going to go, the other way is going to go cool. But I'm just kind of dragging through these different colors like so, okay? You can see how that works. You can see that we could actually animate this as well. So I'll just bring that down to 0. I'll click the fill hue like so. Boom, there it is. That's its final color. And right over here, I'm going to change this to like 360. So it's going to cycle through all the colors in the color wheel. If you, how's everybody doing? Liking the, Nicholas, that's my favorite part about this whole project, are the colors. They just say like summertime freshness. You know, it reminds me of a mojito or something, right? So this is the mojito project. If you ever want to know what these two values are, you could always right click and then go to edit value. And then you'll get this little pop-up, and this gives you an idea of what these two values are. So this is really helpful. It's like, what is that? 1, the 1x, obviously this means degrees, but this is a great place to go if you just want to know what these two values are. So you have your properties, then you have your values, okay? Positive is clockwise around the color wheel, right? So change this to, what, 360? I could, guess what I could have done? Nicholas, Tim probably knows this. I changed this to 360. This is so funny that I just did that. 360 is basically going around one time. So what did it do? It said, hey, you're just going to go around an additional revolution. So that's why it added just 2 there. I could have just added 2 as well. But let's kind of change. There we go. And again, I'm just kind of cycling through the colors like that. I want to make this a little bit more drastic, if you don't mind. Let's do 1. Right. It hurts my eyes a little bit, and we get away from those fun colors, to be honest with you. Okay, check this out. Michelle, welcome back. Hello from Paris. Good to see you again. So feel free to jump over to behance.net/Adobe Live. Can a UX UI designer also do web design? No, just kidding. Of course they can. All the lines get blurred. Think about your goal. Like, what is your client trying to achieve? If you're a designer, what is your, honestly, where's the industry at? And what are people really asking for? I typically think when it comes to design, people are asking for eyeballs. That's what they need. They need eyeballs on their product or service. And that's what design provides. Those eyeballs, of course, with like a media buy. But we do know that motion tends to has higher engagement than just a flat image. So that's why we want to use something like After Effects. Okay, so are you ready? This is the problem with this piece, right? Notice how it's actually cycling through all those crazy colors. Maybe I want to actually pick the colors it's going to cycle through, because it's just going through all the color wheels, and guess what? It goes through ugly colors as well. I know it. I get it. Let's go into Animate. Let's do Fill Color. Let's do RGB. Fill Color. Change this to pink. Right? We'll scrub down. We'll add another fill color. And we will make this the lovely, like, I don't know, like here. Where shall we go with this? Teal. Right? And what I'm doing here is using fill color as opposed to fill hue. Fill color lets me pick the colors to transition to, right? So now we have these two kind of doing it a little bit different, right? So again, that's a lot of control you can do. All right, where is the industry at? Well, think about where you're at in your life, Marcia. That's a great question. Where are your eyes in a typical day? Guess what? They're here on this phone for the most part, right? They're on this phone. Now, does it mean that I'm going to get into app UX UI design? Maybe, sure. Great industry. Good thing we have live streams on that. But also, lots of companies are like doing, sort of Instagram posts and things like that. So that's why I typically, think of social media, basically. I think social media is a hot area. Of course, UX, UI, design as well. So those were the two hot areas, in my opinion, right? So there we have that. This is okay. What did I mention earlier? I wanted to animate this per character. So let's just turn this off, not to make it too confusing. And let's go in here. We have a range selector right over here. So this will enable me to maybe just... Crystal, I agree. Ugly colors get cycled through. Exactly right. The key thing is only going to flash up for a second is the goal. Ugly colors. I love it. So check this out. Crystal says ugly colors. Let's change that right in here. We can change it so just maybe the T is being affected by this fill hue. So now I'll hit enter, and now just the T is affected. Bop, 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 bop. So let's play with this some more. So I'm going to animate this. You ready for this? Let's change this a little bit. Let me get this back down to, let's just go like here. Let's go this. Let's go here. Let's go there. Oh, no. Sorry. I keep forgetting the background is actually... All right, let's just do this. We'll take this down to 0, right? Well, the end is going to be at 0 initially, so clicking right there, adding that keyframe, scrubbing through, and we're going to take the end to 100%. Bop, 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 bop. There it is, right? So over the course of time, it's going to start animating each one of these letters, like so. It gets a little vibratey. It gets a little weird. Right? Then I get quiet. All right. It gets a little vibratey. Is that a word? I don't know. There we go. That's much better. Ba, 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 ba. Right? That's how it's going to animate in. Okay. We do the same thing. Keep in mind, good morning, Anel. Oh, good. Exactly. Michael, you nailed it, man. You're in a good industry. So Michael confirms my assumption. You work on company social media and you make GIFs using After Effects. Cool. For their products. Exactly what I was saying. So right down here for yay, we'll go into the range selector here. We can kind of reverse this just to make it fun. So we will do end, and I'm actually probably just going to animate the start. Let's turn this one on. Here's the yay, cycling through all those colors. It's not as crazy, but here we can make that less or more. So, boom, like that. I really want to make this color a little bit more. Let's have it kind of start from something almost invisible like that. So again, this one isn't quite as fun because this one, I was actually controlling which colors it transitions to, right? So right in here, and let's just drag this over. Let's add another color. We'll go back into the pink. We'll go back into the, let's go over to a green. No, not a green. Okay, there we have it. All right, you get the idea. All right, so again, just animating this per character, having this kind of pop in. All right. What's nice about this is unrelated to the motion that we're working on. So hit P for position. It'll bring up position. And I can have this. Oops. U will bring up the properties. Position. Slide this off. Yay is actually there. Slide it off. Add that motion blur for both. There we go. Oh, I love this. Look at this. Look what we get right here. So I'm actually cycling through those different colors that I picked, and it is giving me the value. So it shows me which colors are being cycled through, right? So again, just like giving me more control. And we can do this all we want. Okay, cool. Got it. All right. Yes, you can. Yeah, Mary, great question. Can you apply the stroke appearing effect you used yesterday to the solid fill graphics? Yes. You'd actually set that up beforehand, so I might set up a new project. Oh gosh, I don't know. Let's add some stars to this. So let's just kind of do this on a separate note. I gotta reset my polystar because it always gives me this crazy path where the inner radius is ridiculous. Right, there it is. What it means is it means turning that text into a shape. Okay, so that's what it's going to mean, like I did yesterday. But what you want to be able to do is like add a stroke right here. Boom. Added that stroke to this star that I'm going to actually scale down here in a second. Let's just scale this down a little bit. Let's go right up here. Here's my fill. There's that color. making that a little softer. And there we have that stroke. We want to go down here to trim paths, and that's the secret. Sorry I'm not like outlining this text, but what I actually want to show is I want to show going from actually like Illustrator, because chances are you have some Illustrator graphics, bringing in those Illustrator graphics, animating those lines and those fills, rather than just creating everything in After Effects. Okay, so trim paths, I'll open this up. Trim paths, watch what this is going to do. And actually, you know what? I don't actually want this to have a fill, by the way. So I could always actually turn that off. And let's just move this down. So have this come in, 1 second in. We can have the start and end of that path. See how it's kind of zipping around, like that. We can take that down to 0. Just like we did with the per character animation, starting at 0 and ending up at 100%, right? Like that. I could probably adjust the cap too, by the way. Yeah, let's go ahead and make this rounded just to give it a little bit more smoothness, I guess. But there you have it. All right. Does that make sense? When you create an object, you get a stroke, you get a fill. For that object, you want to go up here to Add, and you want to be able to select Trim Paths. Trim Paths means we're going to trim it up at the beginning or the end, and then you start animating it. Zoop, zoop, zoop. All right? You get the idea. Let's do Command K. Let's shorten this to 3 seconds. And just hit play, just for fun. Right? All right. This is super fun. So you could start to see how you could do, I'm gonna open up some other projects since we kind of covered the fundamentals. Again, this is getting started in animation. We're mainly using After Effects. I wanna show you Animate just so you know what it is as well, and like where you'd potentially use it. Ha ha ha. Jan Eric, I see your comment. After Tuesday is Wednesday. Let's show Tuesday. Let's show Taco Tuesday some love. Okay. Does that sound good? You got this all squared away. Let's save this file. Let's kind of go in. Let me see. Okay, so you understand that concept. So here's some sort of simple animations that are just really done that same way. Like right in here, we have the stroke width that's being animated, right? So for this version, maybe I'll change the color. We're on this sort of fuchsia kick. We could see that bounce in. What's happening here? You have the stroke width that's huge. Everybody knows if you take a circle, right? You take that circle, has a stroke, we'll crank it up all the way. Now that what was once an outline looks more like a fill, but then you just animate it over time. You not only animate that, you animate, let's just hit U, the scale as well. So there's our fun little blah blah, right? Just like that, right? We could take this, we could put it in our per character animation that we were working with earlier, pasting it in, right? There's our fun circle kind of coming in like so. I can also insert that as a comp as well. Starts out small, animates up. Maybe this is okay. Nope. T will give you opacity, clicking right there. Adding another keyframe, it's going to start out at as 100%, and then it's going to go to 0. There you have that, right? A fun little burst for what it's worth, right? We can get into some more of these as well. If we start using a lot of those, like I have here, just some simple ellipses. Let's bring up a couple of these right in here. Same process, right? So we're gonna really make this, we're gonna really turn this into a party. Right down here, same process. It's the stroke width that's animating over time, right? Notice also down here we have just the scale, right? And if we take a look at that path, let's kind of zoom in. You could see that, again, animating around that circle, right? So again, just varying the stroke around a circle. Let's get this back down. Oh no, I always do that. Command 0 brings everything 100% in Photoshop. But now we have these fun little sparkles, right? Keep in mind, this is actually inside of these ellipses, so I can go to our per character, our choose yay, because we're still trying to make it look like a party, and I can grab these ellipses and drop it right into this current project, right? So now I have this composition inside of it. It's like having a Photoshop file inside of a Photoshop file, right? Let's put that in the background, like so, hit enter. Yeah, it's okay. The cool thing is I could change the color of these, right? So since this is all in one comp, I could say, hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and change the color. Color balance is actually what I use a lot. Dropping it on there. Here it is. Let's lighten it up. Zoop. Actually, maybe that's all I'll do. I might just lighten it up, but I'm basically making these fun little light sparkles. And let's scale this up as well so we can see them larger, right? Now we have those little curls that are going to kind of come in like so, right? Cool. That's kind of what we're going for. I have some others as well that we get into. If we wanted to do a cool burst out from the center, because we created this fun star. Here's our fun star that's coming to life, so we'll say star. Scale this down as well. Put it right there. And let's have some bursts go out from there. Again, already made this. It's the same motion. Like, look at that. Trim paths, right? Trim paths on a line, right? So it's just a matter of creating that line however you want, right? We have the pen tool right in here. Boom, boom, here's a line. There's this stroke for that line. Let's get into make it a rounded cap. Nice and smooth. Just making this a little bit larger so everybody can see it. But I don't mean to like belabor this too much because we've done this already a couple times. Right here, zoop. So it could start right here, maybe at nothing really. Keyframe, scrub out, 100%. A little bit farther, we will adjust the end point. The end, zoop, like that. Okay, there we have our line that we just made, just like those others back there, right? Cool, we have all these fun bursts as well. Keep in mind that background is actually transparent. I just have a teal color, so it's a little bit more interesting to work with. We have these lines, dropping in those lines, like so. Let's put those lines around the star right there. And now when the star fully comes in, we're going to see the little burst right there. And let's scale this down as well. Right there. Let's make this star. I want to make this star thickness, make it a little thinner is what I'm thinking. How many? Oh, there it is. Ah, I was on the wrong layer. Ah, happens. Story of my life, right? You know? I even called it star. So right down here, since things are getting confusing, I just have this shape layer. Don't have it named at all. I can rename it to circle burst. That's more descriptive, right? Circle burst. T, boom. All right, there it is. All right, so there's our circle burst. If I really want to know what this is called, or any one of these lines are really just like line burst out, right? I'd maybe relabel that. But that's just the layer name that I've just established. I can click right here and say, oh, it's actually, you know, the source name is actually lines 02, which is right over here. It's actually this lines comp. So just keep that in mind. I think there's more things, especially if you get a file from someone else, like how are they putting it together? Maybe there's things down here that you don't see or whatever. A lot of times people will shy layers as well. That's a whole thing. Zoop, zoop. All right. Boom. Twos, yay, baby. All right, let's go back into my star. There we go. Just taking down that thickness like so. Fun little burst. Isn't that nice? I'm going to go into this lines. These bursts end at 1 second. Command K. 0, 0. Okay, shortening that up. Let's go back here. Boom. Okay. I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to move this over. Okay, cool. Saving my file. Yeah, the starburst, I agree. I think the starburst is probably my favorite part right here, right? Just like that. All right. Day 2. Thank you, Abdullah. Good to have you here. Saqib as well. We're just kind of diving into After Effects. I feel bad that I don't have a shirt that matches my graphics. Like, that's my biggest problem right now, is my shirt doesn't match the graphics on the screen. Dang it. Can I get another shirt? Okay, saving this. Let's move on. Actually, what else do I have in here? I got the fun ball move as well, right? We could animate things along a path. That's what's happening here. Maybe we'll add this in there, shall we? Let's work on this. Let's do this really fast. Ball move. We're going to drop this one in. So basically, I can have a shape and I can animate it any way I want, right? Any direction, anything. So new composition, really fast, just so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. We could take an ellipse. Here's our fun circle. We could change the fill color to just something white. Okay, right in here. And what I want to animate are the various properties, the position, right? We can animate the position, the scale. I'll have it start there. I'll kind of move it over like so. Zoop. Oh, shoot, I should have put it in the center. Actually, what I should do a couple things. Let's just drag this out. Let's move this up. Okay. Let's turn on actually this title and action safe really fast. Let's just put this right in the center like so. Like that. Okay, that's pretty good. That's fine. Okay, so here's my shape. Here's my position. I'll have it start over here. Move it in about 5 seconds, bring it there, bring it right over here, like that. I can see that I get these Bezier points that I can actually start to adjust, right? So that way we can kind of make it swoosh around and potentially get smaller as it gets closer to the center, right? Which means turning on the scale, right? And then it's going to get smaller as it gets toward the center. I don't know. This is all pretty straightforward, so hopefully this all makes sense to everyone, right? Again, I want these smooth curves. Might be kind of hard to see, but these are Bezier points that I can kind of come in and then edit, right? Just to give them some nice curves like so. Have it follow this fun path. Maybe it starts out even larger, like that. And now we can see it. Like that. Let's move this over. For the size, it's actually going to easy ease in. All right, we could add that to our animation because that's all I did right here for this ball move. It just has some lines with it. Let's change this to white. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I know ooh, yes, thank you, Michael. Yes. Yeah, you do a lot of animation. You do a lot of animated GIFs. Awesome, man. Yeah, I agree. We did some of that yesterday, by the way. Let's go back to fit. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Okay. All right. This is what I'm going to do for this ball move. It's going to come in and land. And it's going to land right here where the star is. Once it lands where that star is, that's where we're going to see the star kind of pop out. Okay, so the ball will be there up till this point in time. Let's shorten this. The circle, the lines. There we go. The star and the lines. Sorry about that. Let me move this in. Shoop, like that. So the ball hits. This one disappears. Right? So I'm ending it at that point in time. The star is going to animate in, and then we're going to have these bursts. Okay, you ready? Kind of like that. All right. You're exactly right. Cooper, we're on the same page. Yeah, so that's the idea. It's like the circle. I mean, it could actually be going even faster, but it's landing right where the star is, right where those bursts are, right? And yeah, we have just some more fun things going on. Yeah, fade out the circle at the end of the line. Yeah. I think the circle needs to go faster. Right? And honestly, maybe it's a different color, but anyways, it's not bad. It is not bad. Let's take a look at some other applications for a lot of this, because this is some other stuff that I was working on. Let's see, we had stuff we did yesterday with text effects, right? We saw this. Easy to apply text animation effects. Showed you guys that yesterday. If you ever want to see that, it's animation presets right over here, and then text. So just briefly, you can always go to animation and browse presets. So since this is getting started in animation, go there. It's going to open up Bridge. It's going to give you all of the animations that you can apply directly to text. So right in here, I can go in. We have curves and spins, right? And we can start to see that. And honestly, it can happen per letter, right? So there's a lot that you could really kind of pick into and adjust as well. So check those out. I think some of them get like a little cheesy, right? It's kind of like with design. Just because you have access to a ton of filters doesn't mean you should use them all, right? We got into expressions as well, right? So the ability to move things around based on expressions. Okay, again, just opening up some of these files. Let's see, this is a red solid. It was at one time. All right, there it is. Oh yeah. Here we go. Color balance. Oh yeah, just randomly changing the color, right? But what this does is it changes like per frame and gets really flashy. It's almost too much. That's why I wasn't a huge fan of that. Okay, another thing that's happening here is the random rotation of this shape. And by the way, this wiggle. So this is going to be a wiggle to the X and Y axis is what's happening here. So it's not moving a lot. It shouldn't be. Actually, it doesn't even matter because it's dealing with the rotation. Okay, but that makes that spin around. And we could apply this to our star as well. So let's take this wiggle. Let's go into our fun little star that appears right here. And apply that to the transform rotation right down here. Okay. So I can hold down the Alt key, click, and that will give me the expression for rotation right over here. Pasting in wiggle. Right? I don't even know if this is exactly right. I'm sure one of these numbers doesn't do anything, to be honest with you. But I copied it. I was using it for movement and pasted it in here. But let's just go ahead and play this. Oh, that's interesting. That's right. I'd have to move the, oh gosh, I have to move the anchor point. Goes right here. Let's actually take this out for a second. And it's doing it based on the anchor point, which oh shoot, oh gosh, I need to move the anchor point. Now I have to hurt my brain and remember how, or I just move it over. Let's just do this. It's gonna be easier. I'm just gonna put this, I'm basically centering the anchor point on the object. There we go. Now we can move it into place like that. And it might not be perfect, but I can change it later. Thanks for hanging out with me. I only have like 30 more minutes. Then we're going to have Jesus Ramirez, boom, boom, coming up next. Boom. Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. So, yep. I'll have you look at that schedule as I just kind of jump in here. Ooh, we could do the scale. Ooh, that would be fun as well. All right. Okay. Let me share my screen. I was just adding a little bit of movement to actually the scale of this. Let's change this to 10, right? Right? We can see that kind of just bounce around this star right here. It's okay. All right. It's okay. Sorry about that. These are always being recorded. Yeah, I knew I was on the schedule screen. Thanks, Sam. I was letting everybody read the schedule while I dropped in this wiggle right here. Okay, so there's the wiggle. We could put it in other places. Option click paste. Now we have a fun dancing star. That's way too excited about Tuesday, right? Just some fun things we can do. All right. Yeah, thank you, Anna. Anna Davis Court. Yeah, I knew the schedule was up, guys. I get it. I was just letting you read the schedule. I'm trying to promote you. This is all a shout out for Anna today and her husband on the stream, which is fun. Okay, we've exploited this so much. It's crazy. Huh? Oh, by the way, let me show you this. For our expressions, right? We have wiggle is just one, probably the most popular one. And then also random is another one that we use. So we could use random for any one of these as well. Okay? Random movement. I probably would add this. I could add these scripts to anything. So I could have random movement of an object, but also wiggle would work better because it's actually going to move between those different points. But notice how I could have it attached to an effect, which is cool. Ooh, speaking of effects, let's do one more. Let's get into a few effects, and then I actually want to get into Adobe Animate as well. So I think that will be pretty cool if that works for you guys. Okay. Let's take a look at this. What is it? Echo. I want to work with Echo. You ready for this? Let's go back to our file. Let's duplicate it. And let's just play with some effects. I got a lot going on here. It gets a little crazy. I'm thinking about playing with like a border again, right? The goal is to keep this simple. So let's just draw out a nice rectangle. We have this new shape layer. Let's turn on the stroke, turn off the fill. We have that. Let's change the color. We'll play with the color a couple times. But let's go like that. Okay, we will add trim paths like we've been doing. I have all these different ideas that I kind of want to show you with Echo. But I want to kind of do it with this border. So I want this border to animate in, because we've been doing that. Let's turn on start and end. Let's take the end to 0, right? Now we have that kind of slide in, right? We have that border being built. Okay. By the way, I'll turn off all these other layers just so we could see this shape layer, which is going to be the border. Let's go right over here. Effects and presets. A number of ones that we can add. We already talked about animation. I've already added some color correction, but Echo will be also fun to use, right? Anytime we want something to kind of slide around, I'll drop it on there. Right over here, let's twirl that up under effects. There's our Echo, right? And we have a couple. All I've done is kind of played with this with some pretty cool results. The number of echoes. I might do this with a shape that's kind of sliding across the screen. It actually might be easier to see that way. Yep. Oh, wait, hold on. Something definitely weird is happening. Let's actually do this with just like a new shape, because I think it's going to be easier to show. Because all I want to do is if I slide in a circle or some sort of shape, I want to have a trail of it in various colors right behind it. So that's kind of the plan, okay? So we'll change this to our pink. Hopefully Hopefully that's not vibrating too much. It's kind of hurting everybody's eyes. Dropping this on. Position. Again, it's going to move into place right there. It's going to start off screen, or at least right over there. I hit enter. We could see that echo, kind of like a duplicate of that shape, slide in. Because what some people want to do is you want to you want to have like a trailing object. Maybe you don't want to use blur. This is obviously a flat design, so I was thinking echo would be pretty good for this. Plus, I just think it's cool, right? So let's go in here to the ellipse. And let's just take a look at this. Let's make this a little larger. Right over here, here's my settings for this particular effect. Okay, number of echoes, I could crank this up, make this, give this like 8. Let's go, number of echoes are 10. 10 echoes, starting intensity, ending intensity, right? So I take that down, we can see that the start might be 100, the decay over time as well could be about 50, but now I started to get this trail look, right? So I'm just kind of controlling the decay over 10 echoes of this shape, right? I'll take this down to 8 just so we can see it a little bit better. Here's the echo operator, right? So we could always change this. Is going to change the look of it as well. But this is just a cool effect. I thought it was kind of neat. This gets animated, right? So you can just turn that on, and we can watch this kind of slide across the screen like that. I don't know. I liked it. Anna's in the house. Echo. What other fun animations did I want to work with? Yeah, you get the idea. You get the idea. Okay. Let's move on. All right. Just turn that one off. Let's turn on everything else. Let's go back to our border. This is the one I was dealing with earlier. Number of echoes, we'll do 7. So I know it's really hard to see. I apologize. Let's go 0.58. Yeah, that's okay. All right, let's move on. I think we're done with this animation. Let's go into anything else that I feel like we might have missed. Done that, done that. Went through a lot of these. Here's our Vegas one that we did yesterday. All right. Let's move on because I have... Oh, shoot. I only have 10 minutes. Let's save this file. I can render this out. I'll probably post it to Instagram just so you know. We could get into some other tools like Animate. So this was once Adobe Flash, and now it's Animate because it's basically platform agnostic. Okay. We'll open it up. Here you could see you could create a new file at, say, a screen size, but ultimately what you create here will be output as code, so that's probably the big difference. Right, animation in here is going to be a lot different, to be honest with you. So right here I have this shape that I've just drawn on the screen. I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. I'd like to animate it down here over the course of, 30 frames. I better not use shortcuts. Right click, I'm going to insert frame. So that stretches it out so it exists for that whole length of time. Right down here, I can insert a keyframe. Watch what happens when I do this. It actually might do it. It's not gonna animate for one. Actually, let me show you this. Insert keyframe. This version will change the color. Okay, I'll do that later. Let's change the color to pink. Right in here, the very last frame, it's going to turn pink, right? If we want to actually distort this shape into this other shape, subselection tool, zoop, zoop. Throw a splat in here, right? This is just a different shape. I'll click between these two points, and this is how you deal with animation in Animate. We have classic tweens, motion tweens, and shape tweens. Key thing to remember here is you're going to be animating things frame by frame typically. So this is great for character animation, right? You would draw in one frame, move to the next frame, draw again, move to the next frame, draw again. Right, so right here, I don't want to create a classic or a motion. I want to create a shape tween. Boom, there it is. There's my shape tween. We can see we can kind of morph that over time. And hit enter, right? I got onion skidding I could turn on, right? I can kind of see this transition, right? These are all the frames. I just turned on onion skinning. Onion skinning is when you want to see that previous frame so you could draw that character in that new position. Yes. That's right. Okay, you see how that fundamentally works. Let me actually open up something. Let's open up this one. You know, let's just turn on this stuff. Let's maybe turn off these. Here I have a bunch of graphics on different layers. I'll scrub in about 30 frames, hit F5, hit F6. These are all shortcut keys. I don't know why I'm using them, but in general, I made keyframes. Keyframe, keyframe, right? At this point, we can move this over. Let's have it start here, like this, and it ends over here like this. Midground moves over slightly. Background doesn't move at all. Let's go ahead and add a classic tween. And now you can see that content just like slowly, oops, slide by. There's Animate. Just wanted to throw that in there just for kicks. It's just like Flash, exactly. This is basically, if you've been using Flash, and honestly, I think we have a very much almost a, I don't know, like a Silicon Valley view of apps. There's a ton of people around the world still using Animate for projects, and rightfully so. Okay, but that's all I did, is just kind of animate this sliding across. Animation by land, why not? We could go into our publish settings and knock out, sure, an SWF, but look, oh yeah, let's actually hit cancel, save as, desktop, here we go. All right, let's just go back into these publish settings. Oh, here we go. Actually, let me cancel this. Here we go. We can take something that maybe was made for Flash. I could have output that SW file, but we can convert this to HTML5 canvas via VR panorama. That's in beta, which is really cool. So allowing you to pan around scenes. So I think that would be cool to kind of show. But we're going to convert this to an HTML5 canvas. So it's basically writing all this code. Document generated successfully. Thank you very much. We'll go into publish settings. Here we can export out that JavaScript/HTML. Okay, so we could have fun animating with an interface that's very friendly, and then output it. Just click publish, and then we'll create that. Nothing. Nobody died, Marsha. Nobody died. People who used Flash in the past, still using Flash today, just publishing out. It's like platform agnostic. It doesn't care. It doesn't care your output at the end of the day. Do I care? I don't. I'm not beholden to file types, and neither is Animate as well. Oh, I didn't turn off those other layers, but they are in there. I apologize for that. I had these other layers on, so that's why you see them. I was going to animate them, but let's just delete them. Let's delete those layers and publish again. Cool. Man, I only have 5 minutes left. Jeez, this went fast. It went fast. There we go. Pretty straightforward, right? I was just trying to create a cool like depth effect right in there. All right. That's right, Eudalia. Awesome. You get the idea. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show, and I do have 5 minutes to do this. Because what have we been using this whole time? We've been creating everything in After Effects. And really what I want to do is just create a new comp. What if I want to use Illustrator? So I'll go into Illustrator. Let's get rid of this. Let's try to have something kind of cool, Paul. I don't know if I have much time for this. Let's grab this. Let's grab, let's explore. Let's drop in this graphic. All right, here's my graphic. Made in Illustrator, right? You get the idea. We'll pick our fun color that apparently we can't get enough of. I could save this out, so I'll save this as logo, right? And bring that in. It's going to come in, honestly, as I would hope you would expect it would. So import on my desktop. There's my logo. There it is, right? Cool. Here's my Illustrator file. I actually don't have access to these different lines. Like, we've been animating lines all day long. I would love to see that line animate around this particular shape, but I can't do it. You know, it's not here. All I can do is maybe edit the original. Okay, so let's go right here, and I want to show you. And let me just, you know, this is, keep in mind there's not a clipping mask in here, but I'm going to show you Overlord. Overlord's pretty cool. I mentioned it yesterday. Yeah, Steve Jobs said a lot of things. God bless his soul, right? We get it, right? Doesn't matter. You know what Flash did in that whole controversy, or whatever you want to call it? It pushed HTML forward so far that was huge, right? But I know I owe half my career on Flash, because if you're doing anything cool back in, you know, the early 2000s, early aughts or whatever, you were doing it in Flash. So all that creative movement and stuff, those people are still doing it. They're just doing it with JavaScript and other tools. Okay, so right in here, Overlord allows you to actually have a connection between Illustrator and After Effects. Right here, I can push selection to After Effects. Keep in mind, I'm going to have that panel open. Push to After Effects. In After Effects, the big thing is you need to have that window open. So it's an extension that runs in After Effects and Illustrator. So right here, push, boom, it pushes it through. Oh, look at this. Oh, how handy. All these lovely layers that I can then start animating. I would hit P for position, move it over, add keyframes for all of those, scrub back, right? Start sliding this stuff around and making a cool logo. S for scale. S. Bam. Ba. Cha. Ra. It's a little large. I should probably have changed that, but I can animate all those layers separately. And the cool thing is I can take this and I can push it back too. So let's take this shape. Let's push it back to Illustrator if I want to use Illustrator, or we can pull that selection from Illustrator. So it's a push and pull, like back and forth. Okay, so let's actually just try this. Let's go back into Illustrator. And Jesus Ramirez is up next. Right in here, I might want to change this color to green, saving it. Let's actually just try this. And there it is. It just kind of pushes it in. Let's pull from. Oh, yeah, there it is. I mean, obviously it's pulling from those assets. So anyways, it's just a way to bring in all these assets to use in animations. So that's all I have for you. Awesome. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you. My name has been Paul Trani this whole time, and I am a Macromedia Director user. Remember Lingo and the stage and all that stuff. Remember Tell Target, all that fun stuff. Good to see my friends here. I'm gonna let you guys go. Jesus Ramirez is up next. I'm gonna leave you with him. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. See ya.